Okay. Surprise, surprise. We are here. We are back. We're going to try to fire this thing up, keep the fingers crossed, and hope to God that the microphone issues do not bug us for the rest of the day. I refuse to go down without a fight. I refuse to let the Muschamp Packers win. So here we are. We will wait for you all to file back in. Appreciate your patience. My sincerest apologies for the technical difficulties. I've fiddled around with and played with some of the audio stuff. So hopefully, we will be able to get through this next hour or so in peace. Anyways, appreciate you all tuning in. We will wait for those of you to file in. AJ Bowers, what's going on? What's going on, my friend? I know probably a lot of you are thrown off right now. Yeah, I'm trying to fire it back up. I, again, been playing around with some of the audio stuff on the back end. Hopefully, this does not cut out. Hopefully, we're able to get through this. I just refuse to let the Muschamp Packers win. Refuse to let the Muschamp Packers win. So, anyways, we are taking your questions, comments, calls, 843-790-3377. And again, guys, you know what? If it fails, so what? But I'm not going to go down without a fight. So, AJ Bowers, appreciate you tuning in. That's the only comment I see right now. We may have lost our entire crowd for the remainder of the day. Everybody's just checked out and assumes the Daily Crow is over. So, either way, guys, I do apologize for it. I apologize for technical issues. I don't know, man. We're just learning as we go. We're just getting after it on the fly, and it is what it is. And God, I appreciate you all just rolling with the punches, man. Thank goodness. Thank goodness y'all are willing to do that. Let's jump back to the phone lines here.
Robbie Davis, a.k.a. Kirk Herbstreit.
Robbie, what's up, my friend? How are you?
First things first, I'm going to ask God for forgiveness for this later, but to hell with the Muschamp Packers and to hell with the Kingston Hackers. To hell with them.
Yeah, pretty tough. Shit happens, my friend. I don't know. It's crazy. It's absolutely. I guess the good news is this is happening now in the summer, and we're not like in season, but it is still very frustrating. Either way, my friend, how are you doing? How's your day going?
In season, we're gonna have good. I don't know if you saw the text I sent right before you went off the air, right before you decided to go off the air, but the Friday I meant to tell you this yesterday and I forgot, but the Friday I came back from Branchville, my brother, Chandler, who listens a good bit, he told me that he was at the indoor practice facility at the University of South Carolina doing a 7-on-7 with Burns, okay, because he's the chaplain for the James F. Burns High School football team. And at first, I didn't believe him. And I was like, I don't believe you. And if it's true, I hate you for at least the next 24 hours. And then after I sent him that text message FaceTime, and I was like, if I could, I'd reach the TV and choke you because I was mad. I was like, you're lucky. Like, you are very lucky. I would give anything to be there right now. But, I was, for at least 48 hours, I wasn't a happy camper with my brother. I still love him, obviously. I still love him. But, I was not a happy camper.
Right. Yeah, well, I mean, you'll have to get in the facility, man. I'm surprised you haven't done so yet. We'll have to get you in the facility though. Somehow, some way.
But anyway, what I wanted to say is, okay, whenever you were talking before you were way before you went off the air, but whenever you said, Rattler is not getting as much love as from, I guess, the media, because he decided instead of going somewhere else like Texas A&M or anywhere, he decided himself to go to South Carolina, right? So he's not getting the love that he would normally get. You know what I would say to that? In order to shut up the haters, just win. Because if you win, especially if you're Spencer Rattler and you're the starting quarterback at the University of South Carolina, you want to shut up the reporters that are talking crap. It's simple. win. That'll shut them up. You win, it'll shut up any hater that hates on our football team. I don't care if it's a reporter. I don't care if it's a Dankum Clemson fan. I don't care. You win, it'll shut them up. Period. They will stop talking shit, and they will dadgum be on alert whenever we play them in the future. That I can guarantee you.
That's a fact. Hey, what's good for Spencer Rattler is good for South Carolina. I agree. That's the way I look at it. When you talk about preseason expectations, I mean, there's been a lot of questions around, what does he need to do statistically? How many yards? How many touchdowns? All that good stuff. And
right.
It's hard for me to really pinpoint a number, although I've tried to do so. But as long as he plays well and we win, like you said, man, I mean, everything's going to take care of itself. I mean, obviously, it's people ask about, does Spencer Rattler have a chip on his shoulder? I mean, I don't think what other motivation does he need other than he's trying to be a first-round draft pick? I mean, if nothing else. So I think he's got plenty of motivation. I'm sure he uses all the criticism and the noise, the chip on his shoulder. And, yeah, like you said, if you want respect, go win ball games, and you will certainly get it. And, I mean, that's what you got to do. So, and I think, again, Spencer Rattler plays well. We will have a lot of success. In turn, he will gain respect. We will gain respect. It'll work out well for everybody.
Yeah, it'll be a win-win for everybody if it works out like that.
Exactly.
And like I told you yesterday, my dad's guitar has changed since the last time you saw it. That's all I'm going to say. You'll love it. I'm telling you. You'll love the way my dad's guitar looks. It's like when I first saw it, I was like, wow, okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I will. I will look forward to seeing it on Friday.
Oh yeah, I can't wait, man. It's gonna be a fun night, Friday night. I will be there 100%, and is it just me, or does it feel like the year has flown by? Because we're already
it's already middle of June.
We're almost in July.
Yeah, I mean,
we're almost we're 9 days away from being out of June. We're fixing to be in July. It's just insane.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking back at content I made, looking back at 2021, and it's crazy that we're already halfway through 2022 now. So, yeah, man, live in the present moment. Don't take a day for granted because it certainly flies by quickly. But and I'm looking forward, Robbie. I'm looking forward to Friday night. It should be a good time, and I appreciate you and Yunkel Boudreaux setting me up with the ticket. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm getting a free ticket out of it too, so it's a win-win for the both of us.
Yeah, it'll be a good night. It'll be a good night. I mean, I'm sure he is your dad after all. I'd hope that he'd give you a free ticket.
well, he gets to bring one person for free, and that person's going to be that's his girlfriend, and then he gets to give two free tickets away. So he's giving one to you and one to me. So
love to hear it. Robbie, appreciate you taking the time to call in, my friend. Always a pleasure to chat with you.
All right, man. You have a great rest of your day, and if you go do anything outside, stay hydrated.
Will do, my friend. Appreciate you, Robbie. Always a pleasure to hear from the great Robbie Davis. Trip Cromer says, Rattler may have a chip on his shoulder, which is great. Yeah, I mean, again, he has plenty of goals and aspirations. I don't know that he really even needs external motivation, right? I don't really know that he needs it. This is a guy that's trying his damnedest to get drafted in the first round, right? That wants to prove to people that last year at Oklahoma was a fluke, that he's not that guy, that he's still the Heisman Trophy caliber level player, that he's still the first round NFL draft pick caliber player. I think certainly he's got plenty of motivation. I actually think, guys, I think Rattler being humbled a year ago in Norman, I think that could be the best thing that ever happened to him, right? Because you kind of go through it. He goes through his career, right? Everybody's always worshiped the ground he's walked upon. You know, he's been the best player on his team forever. Basically, probably his entire childhood, entire career, high school, and then when he got to OU. Last year, he gets a little bit of adversity, right? Runs into adversity. But when you hit adversity, you can go one of two directions. You can either let it crush you, let it define you, or you can learn from it and come out better. And I think Shane Beamer would not have brought Spencer Rattler into Columbia if he did not feel like he was going to have learned from his experiences and come out better. And in turn, that's going to positively benefit the University of South Carolina. And the environment that Shane Beamer creates and has created is going to positively benefit Spencer Rattler. Because again, what's good for Spencer Rattler is good for South Carolina and vice versa. I think it's going to be a big year for QB1. I really do. I'm not going to put any unfair expectations and say he's going to go win the Heisman. But South Carolina is in as good a hands under center as it's been since Connor Shaw graced the field at Williams-Brice Stadium. You could argue Spencer Rattler is the most talented player, most talented quarterback, I should say, to ever wear the garnet and black. That's not to say he's going to break a bunch of records, but talent-wise, just pure talent, he's up there. He's the highest rated quarterback to ever step foot on campus. That's a fact. That's a fact. What does that mean for the upcoming season? How many yards, how many touchdowns, how many wins? That's yet to be determined. But again, the Gamecocks, I think, are in very, very good hands with Spencer Rattler under center. Braddock843 says, Chris, you got me liking that over 5.5 games you more. I mean, I'll tell you this, Braddock. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. It's either you take the over or you don't bet it. I mean, are you really, Braddock, would you really feel confident in saying, take all your biases out, right? Even me taking all of my biases out. For South Carolina to go 5-7 this year, right? For the Gamecocks to go 5-7. What an abysmal season that would be, right? It's hard for me to imagine the Gamecocks going 5-7. It's just, they might go 6-6. South Carolina very well might go 6-6, but 5-7? I think that's aggressive. I think that's really, really aggressive. David Barnes, can you rank the uniform styles we've had since we switched to Under Armour? I like what we have now, but got a sweet spot for the 2007-2010 style that we started with. David, I will say of the Under Armour styles, those are my favorite. Yeah, the 07 to 10s that you're mentioning, those are my favorite. So it's hard to rank them because I don't really have them all in front of me. But, dude, you know what sucks is, like, I would love our uniforms now if they weren't directly associated with Will Muschamp. Like I just bumped something in the mic acted a fool. So hopefully we're still okay. Anyways, got to be careful. Like if Shane Beamer would have came in and those would have been his uniforms, he would have brought the striping and the changed up stripes on the helmet, I'd probably love the uni. I'd be like, we got to keep this forever. But it's just, dude, I can't look at it. I can't help myself but look at it and think of Will Muschamp. And I'm like, that's the Muschamp uniform. Muschamp's the one that brought that uniform. So it'll be interesting to see if Shane Beamer puts his own mark on the unis. Travis says, what's up, Chris and TDC joining late. Travis, you didn't miss anything, my guy. We had technical issues, and I actually closed out the Daily Crow for a minute. The microphone giving us horrid issues. Muschamp Hackers working hard. And I played around with it a little bit, and we went back live. So hopefully we're okay for the rest of the day. Joey Guyton says, I'm hoping we beat at least 2 out of the 3 between Florida, Tennessee, and Kentucky. I mean, I think, Joey, if you go 2-1 over those 3, I think you had a pretty good year, right? I think you had a pretty damn good year. Trip Cromer says, the great thing is, I think the culture has changed. Yeah, I think it certainly has, and you can see that and feel that, and it's reflected in the way that Shane Beamer and company operate. The biggest thing is this, though, is that it all comes down to wins and losses, right? It all comes down to wins and losses. You know, listen, I love the intoxicating nature of Beamer, right? But I see people comment a lot. And I'm like, why do you think Shane Beamer's the guy? They say, well, it just feels different. What does that mean? What does that mean? It feels different. I know Shane Beamer loves USC, and I love that. But again, Beamer's not immune to it. No coach is. I don't care if you're an alumni of the school, you love the school, how you feel about the school. If you don't win, none of it matters. None of it matters. Shane Beamer's not immune to feeling the pressure. He's not immune to feeling the criticism. Fans were doing it last season. You know, it's all sunshine and rainbows right now because you beat UNC in the bowl game. It wasn't sunshine and rainbows when you got beat 44-11 by A&M. It wasn't sunshine and rainbows after you beat Vanderbilt 21-20. It wasn't sunshine and rainbows after you beat Troy by 9 points. There was a feeling of uneasiness for sure. Hey, it wasn't sunshine and rainbows after you lost to Clemson 30-0. It wasn't. That's why I've preached for so long the patience. Patience, having patience. Letting Shane Beamer work. You know what I mean? Just not putting the cart before the horse. I'm not saying don't be excited. Heck, I'm excited. I'm pumped. I am fired up for this upcoming year. And trust me, guys, I have a daily internal battle. And I'm gonna have to, in a couple weeks, lock in predictions for the season. And I have multiple times gone back and forth and said, I want to keep things realistic, but why can't South Carolina be the surprise team this year? Why can't the Gamecocks be the Arkansas of last year? Why can't Carolina go 8-4? Why can't Carolina snap the streak against Clemson? Somebody just asked me on social media, and it's a painful topic, but it's a topic worth discussing, right? It's a topic worth discussing about will the streak in the Carolina-Clemson rivalry, will it get to double digits? Right? Will it get to double digits? And I'll be honest with you guys, and it's looking way too far ahead because the transfer portal's changed everything, right? And I'm not saying this to say it in like a negative way or whatever, but I don't think we're going to be better next year than we are this year. When you look at what we lose, we'll be starting over at quarterback again. I don't think we'll be better next year than we are this year, okay? And then the following, who knows? But you got to go back to Clemson. I think this year's your best chance to beat them before the streak gets to double digits. I think it is. I think it is. Even though it's on the road, you've got Spencer Rattler. You've got these weapons on offense. You got Cam Smith leading you in the secondary. You got Jordan Birch, Zach Pickens, a pair of five-star guys, right? Clemson's certainly not reeling, but they look more mortal than they have in the last 6-7 years, if you will. I'm not sitting here on these airwaves telling you that a win over Clemson is happening. But what I am saying is for the first time, I'll tell you this, just to give you all a temperature check. Just to give you a temperature check. This is not me picking a win. Right? Far from it. I will lock in my predictions in a few weeks. The last couple of years, I have marked Clemson down as a loss in heavy black ink. Without hesitation, I've marked it down as a loss. This is the first time in quite a while that when I look at the Gamecocks schedule, I stop and I look at that Clemson game and I just go, I look at that 16-point spread and I go, that's a more interesting matchup than it has been in quite a while. I mean, guys, you think about it. For the first time in the South kind of Clemson rivalry since 2013, I'm confident in saying the Gamecocks will enter the rivalry matchup with the better quarterback. I'm confident in saying that. Whether it's DJ Uyunglele on their side or it's this Cade Klubnik, however you say his last name, this Cade dude, this 5-star freshman, whatever, Spencer Rattler's better than anybody Clemson's got under center. And I don't even think it's particularly close. So for the first time since 2013, the Gamecocks will have the better quarterback in the game. And that means something. How much does it mean? I don't know, but that means something in regards to the dynamic of this matchup. So I'm not sitting here predicting a win. I will lock in my official predictions in a few weeks, right? I'm not predicting a win right here today. But if you're looking at that 16-point spread and that number and you're looking at that game as a whole, again, it's one that I'm not quite as quick going into this season to mark down an L in heavy black ink. That's all I'm saying. It's at least a game I look at, even after last year in the 30-0 loss. Listen, the Gamecocks lost last year. They got dominated on the line of scrimmage, but they didn't have the quarterback play to win that game. They did not have the quarterback play to even compete in that game. They didn't. Certainly that ball game will come down to line of scrimmage. Clemson is elite up front defensively. But I think it's one you at least look at. And it should be a much closer contest than we've seen over the last 7 or so, or over the winning streak that Clemson's on. So we'll see if that pans out. But it's one that I'm very intrigued by. More intrigued than I've been in quite some time. AJ Bowers, and I don't think there's anybody that says that DJ is a better quarterback than Spencer Rattler. I think maybe they think this 5-star kid can be. But even if he pans out and are you really going to tell me you'd rather have a true freshman than Spencer Rattler? There ain't no way. There's no way. And if you say that, bro, the Spencer Rattler disrespect, it's one thing to doubt his, he got benched at Oklahoma, this happened. But, for you to say that a freshman quarterback's going to be better than him, that's ignorant. That's ignorant. That's flat out ignorant. Here we go. Let's jump to the phone lines.
Call from
John Edwards.
John Edward, what's up, man? How are you?
Good, just working. I just heard you talking about probably for the first time, like you said, 2013 Carolina have at least the better quarterback going into the game against Clemson. I just want to touch on something I saw on social media the other week. It was, I think, college football on Fox on Instagram posted a graphic of Spencer Rattler and DJ, whatever, how do you say his last name? They said, who's the better quarterback, Spencer Rattler and DJ? And I put it on my Instagram story. I'm like, are we freaking serious?
Yeah.
Did no one watch DJ last year?
I saw the graphic as well. Yeah. I think they more so did that because they knew that pitting two quarterbacks in a rivalry like Carolina Clemson would get a lot of engagement on that post. But, yeah, I think even Clemson fans knew that post was silly. Yeah.
I'm like, put your bias aside. Bias. Put your fan hat off, and I think even Clemson fans would probably admit Spencer, despite having a bad year at Oklahoma, is still the better guy, quarterback.
Yeah, I think that's a given. What are more pressing matters, John Edward, is I by the way, I know you call into Shane Beamer's call-in show, right? And every time I've heard you call into his show, they say we're going to John from Rock Hill. I need to make sure I want you to make sure you let Todd Ellis know you're John Edward. John is your old name.
Okay.
John is your previous name. You are John Edward. All right?
Yeah.
Because if I'm going to call you John Edward, everybody's going to call you John Edward. Understood?
Yeah.
So let Todd Ellis and Shane Beamer know this is a call from John Edward in Rock Hill. Put some respect on the Edward.
Yeah. Yeah, I got you. Oh man. So yeah, I don't know if I told you, like, I get actually on more on a personal note. I went to Georgia the other week for vacation, get out of town for a little bit, and I went fishing with a buddy of mine from high school, and his dad ended up catching while I was down there. I caught I caught a trout, and on that same day I was down there, I caught like 2 sharks. Threw them back, obviously, but anyway, yeah, I wanted to call in real quick. Hadn't in a long time, and been busy, and had a minute.
Well, John Edward, I appreciate it, man. It's always a pleasure to chat with you. Certainly.
Oh yeah, same here, dude.
Yeah, man.
I'll see you later.
Yeah, man. Good stuff. Take care. Guys, we're going to jump into a quick break, but I want to continue to hear from you more of your questions, comments, calls, and more on the other side. You're tuned in to the Daily Crow. All right, guys, we're back taking your questions, your comments, and your calls as well. 843-790-3377. That's 843-790-3377. Proud of the fact that today we did not let the Muschamp Packers win today, right? We didn't let the Muschamp Packers win. We had adversity. I thought I was done. I thought I was throwing in the towel, and I said, you know what? I'm going to go down swinging. So we are here. We're rocking. We're rolling here on this Tuesday. Appreciate you all tuning in, taking your questions, your comments, your calls. Would love to hear from you all. Brandon Coley, shout out to Brandon Coley. Y'all send your prayers. Prayers for his dog Spur today. I had to put him down after 15 years. Brandon, I'm sorry for your loss, my friend. Prayers to you. My guy Dalton Hines, Gamecocks going to Tatertown to get the dub. He says, hammer the Gamecocks money line. I love it. I love it, Dalton. I love it, Dalton. Let's see. Coach Ford comment says likely wins for the Gamecocks this year. South Carolina State, Georgia State, Charlotte, and Vandy. Likely losses, Tater Tech, Georgia, Arkansas, A&M. The season makers and or breakers, Missouri, Kentucky, Tennessee, and Florida. Coach Ford, I think that's a fantastic job of breaking the season down. That's exactly how I'd probably look at it. And I do agree with you. Those 4 toss-up matchups, they will determine the season. I mean, if you want to throw Arkansas in the toss-up category as well, I think that's fair. But I'd agree with you. Those 4 that you mentioned, the season makers or breakers, how you fare in those 4 is going to be the difference between winning 6, 7, 8, et cetera, ball games this season. So very well done, Coach Ford. Very well done indeed. AJ Bowers, now that Chump is helping with the UGA defense, do you think we have a slight chance at keeping it close with them? Guys, I don't think it really matters that Muschamp's involved with their defense. I know what he did at USC, and he's not a great defensive coordinator or anything like that, and that's evident what he did at South Carolina. They've still got elite talent on that side. They've got elite talent on that side for sure. You know, it's again, I'll drop my predictions in a few weeks. I think it's going to be a tall task. I think it's going to be a challenge. I think it's the toughest game on the Gamecock schedule. But you never know. I mean, South Carolina and Georgia at home. I think the Dogs, obviously, their roster is much, much better than yours, but we've seen that game be close before. So I don't have a way too early score prediction for you, but that will certainly be a great opportunity for Spencer Rattler to shine on the home field. Yeah, Connor McCormick, I did restart the Daily Crow, yes. We had our technical issues. I bailed on it, and then I tinkered with some things and was like, you know what, I'm going to at least try it. If it doesn't work, so be it. But, yeah, I just wanted to at least try it because I wanted to be live. I wanted to be live today, and so here we are. So, Connor, I apologize for the craziness today, but we are here. We're getting through it. We're pushing through the Muschamp Hacker BS, and, yeah, we are still here. So. Anyways, guys, we are taking your questions, your comments, and your calls. 843-790-3377. That is 843-790-3377. Also, guys, in the Big Cock Club Discord, head over to the TDC Questions channel. The TDC Questions channel, be sure your questions are answered there. And, guys, if you're not a part of the Big Cock Club Discord, you're missing out because we've been having a blast in our Big Cock Club Hangouts, which is basically Twitter Spaces on steroids. We're able to watch games and conversate with each other and hang out. And the Discord as a whole is a lot of fun. The Discord as a whole is a lot of fun. Connor McCormick, the USB thing that connects to the Mac, I just messed around with it a little bit. I don't know. I just messed around with it a bit. So the reason it sounds better is because we're using the $600 microphone instead of the MacBook microphone. That's why. Cody Gaskins, A&M or Notre Dame at 2 o'clock. Who's your pick? I'm going with Texas A&M. I think Schloss and the boys, I think they got one more little blast of run in them. I think they got another run in them, if you will. So I'm going with Texas A&M. I will go with the Aggies. I will go with the Aggies. Guys, again, today's show on SEC Unfiltered, I do apologize for the technical difficulties. See, so it's these guys right here. These USB connectors. They are very, very, very finicky. They're very finicky. I don't know if these things are cheap or what, but God, they are annoying. They are so annoying. So that's been our problem, honestly, is those things. Thank God I had a backup. Kyler Dooley says, big-time Georgia fan here, but enjoy listening in. Since Georgia-Carolina's at noon, advantage or disadvantage for Carolina? I think advantage, but atmosphere at night would be better. Yeah, Kyler, I don't think of it being an advantage, really, for South Carolina for it being at noon. I mean, I think, if anything, if it was at night, it would be more of an advantage. I don't really think it helps or hurts South Carolina either way. I mean, I guess you're saying because the game's at noon in Georgia, maybe they're sleepwalking coming in. I don't see that being the case, man. I really don't. I don't see that being the case. I don't think the time in which this game is played will have that much of an effect, to be honest with you. But Kyler, I appreciate the kind words, my friend. I appreciate the kind words, and looking forward to that Week 3 matchup at Williams-Brice Stadium for sure. AJ Bowers says, after the Arkansas-Ole Miss game last night, he used to help Arkansas win in the College World Series. I like Ole Miss. Well, of course you like Ole Miss, AJ, because they just beat the hell out of Arkansas. I'll still ride with the Hogs, the Omaha Hogs. I'll still ride with the Hogs. Ole Miss is scorching hot, though. It's crazy. It's crazy to see what Ole Miss is doing, truly. It's crazy, man. Absolutely wild. So, let's see. Really excited. Our friends over at College Football News, they should be dropping – oh, here we go. They should be dropping their South Carolina preview very, very soon over the next day or two. Here's something fun, though. Ben Newhouner, I hope that's how you say his last name. Either way, a writer, contributor at collegefootballnews.com, and you guys know I'm a big fan of their work. They released an article, an SEC top letdown game for every team for the 2022 college football season, right? So the game that each team needs to be on lookout, and it could be a letdown and a bad loss for them, okay? And they did this for every single SEC team. What is South Carolina's letdown game? You might ask. They have listed. Can anybody guess? Can anybody guess what the letdown game would be? Can anybody guess what the letdown game would be? I'll give you guys about 10 seconds. I want to brace you for it. Jack Harrington says Mizzou. Anybody else? Anybody else? Coach Ford says Georgia State. Good God. Jeff Gullich says Kentucky. Connor McCormick says Mizzou. Weehawken is correct because they say the matchup November the 5th in Nashville against the Vanderbilt Commodores. Here's the commentary. They say factoring in that this matchup's on the road as well as after games against Texas A&M and Missouri, the Gamecocks had better take this seriously with a trip to Florida right after. Clark Lee and the boys. Clark Lee and the boys doing work. They've got Vanderbilt listed as the potential letdown game for the Gamecocks this season. And here's the thing. I will just say this. The Gamecocks have beaten Vandy 13 in a row. At some point, that streak's going to end. At some point, it'll happen. I mean, we hope and pray it's not this year. It shouldn't be this year with Rattler, but it's going to happen at some point. And certainly that article is not South Carolina's going to lose this game, but just don't sleep on that game. Don't sleep on that game. It could go sideways. Jeff Gullich says, I'm excited and interested to see how the offense looks this year. I think we get a preview in the bowl game, or we got a preview. Seemed more aggressive in the bowl game than we did all season. Well, when the offensive line is blocking and you got good quarterback play, you can be more aggressive, Jeff. Hopefully we see a lot more of that this season. Weehawken ass. You're going to be turned up at the tailgates this year. Turn up making content, Weehawken. I'm going to be making content. You talking about content bleeding out the eyeballs. Turned up making content for sure. Babes and Waves asked, would you ever be open to collaborating with SEC Network? Absolutely, I would. Why wouldn't I? That'd be a lot of fun. I'd love to do it, whether it be with TSUS or the SEC Unfiltered platform. I'd absolutely love to do it. Dalton Hines says, if we lose to Mizzou, I will put a paper bag over my head for the rest of the season. Well, Dalton, I guess the bright news, the bright spot is that that is late in the season. But so, Dalton, you're saying if Carolina loses to Mizzou, you will be at the Tennessee game and the Tennessee tailgate with a paper bag over your head. No takebacks, Dalton. No takebacks. Jack Harrington says, Vanderbilt is horrible now. Vandy actually used to be a decent team in the mid-2010s. No way that we lose that game. Jack, we almost lost to them last year on our home field. I'm not saying we should lose to them this year, but I mean, we should have lost to them last year. Should have. 1,000% we should have lost to them. We cocky. How do you think our defense will be this year? I'm confident in Clayton White and Torian Gray and that group. I'm very confident. I've just talked before. My biggest question is, do we have somebody step up in place of Jalen Foster to create those turnovers, right? Can we make a living depending on the turnovers again? That's my big question. A.J. Bowers calling his shot against Vandy. 42-10 Carolina, calling it right now. You know what's bad, guys? You know what's bad? I'll go on record and say this. I would trade a loss to Vanderbilt this year if it meant that we beat Kentucky. Straight up. I'm not even joking. I would trade those. I would trade a loss to Vandy if it meant we beat Kentucky. Because at least if you lose to Vandy, it's like, you know what? You'd beaten them 13 in a row. They were due. But Kentucky, you've lost to 7 of 8. Like, I just, guys, at some point, can you fathom going into next season with an 8 out of 9 losing streak hanging over your head against Kentucky? I mean, can you fathom that? I mean, that's got to stop. Give Kentucky football all the respect in the world, Mark Stoops. That's got to stop. If Shane Beamer's going to build the South Carolina football program, you got to beat Kentucky. You've got to beat Kentucky. Bottom line. Give them their respect, no doubt. But you've got to beat Kentucky and you've got to beat Mizzou. Georgia, Florida, Tennessee, those big three, they'll always be there. But you can't be behind Kentucky and Missouri, man. And certainly not Vandy. Travis Lee says, over under 30 points per game this year. I think that's the magic number. I really do. When it comes to how we determine and define success for the Gamecocks in 2022 offensively, that 30-point per game mark, I think that's the magic number. You're over 30 points per game, I think you'll be able to look back and say, hey, we had a good year. Spencer Rattler had a good year. The offensive line was much improved. We had a successful year offensively. You start creeping under 30 points per game, you start to question, did we really get the most out of our investment in these guys we picked up from the transfer portal? Did we get the most out of what we bargained for from them, right? I think 30 points per game is the magic number offensively for South Carolina this year. I do. So it's hard for me, Travis, I want to say over. I do. I want to say over. And gun to head, I guess I probably would say over, but that's the magic number. Jack Harrington says, I agree if you put A&M in that sentence instead of Kentucky. Dude, I hate losing to A&M, but I can live with it. A&M's a good team. Like, A&M's a very good football team. Let me ask you this. South Carolina's lost 7 of 8 to Kentucky. Out of those 7, were there any of those matchups you came into and said, Kentucky is just top to bottom the better football team than South Carolina? If we win, it's an upset. No matter, despite what the spread has said, despite the fact that last year I picked Kentucky to beat Carolina and people hated it, I think the majority of Carolina fans, nobody has come into those games expecting the Gamecocks to lose. Nobody. That's what makes it so infuriating and so frustrating. I mean, that's really what does it. Babes and Waves says, heard there was another competitive USC blogger talking junk on TSUS. Name them, because I haven't seen or heard it, Babes and Waves. I haven't seen or heard it, and nobody's brought it to my attention. Name them, Babes and Waves. Let them speak, and speak loudly, and speak clearly, and speak freely. Speak, and say it with your chest when you do it. I haven't heard anything, my guy. I'm too busy, too concerned with making content. I'm too concerned with making content, my guy. If you want to send me the clip, I'll get a good laugh and get a good yuck. It's the off season. I guess it's time for stuff like that, but all good. Let's see. Brian Murphy, let's see. He says, after last season's offensive woes, do you think one bowl game wipes away all the horrible play calling of last year? Over under calling for OC job. Great show. Brian, I appreciate you, my friend. Thank you so much for the love and support. First things first. You know, it's funny. If we would have been porous offensively in that bowl game, even if we'd have won, the mood right now would be a lot different. And I think there's still a lot of folks that are, you know, just waiting for the right moment to call for to get that Satterfield conversation going again. I mean, listen, it's put up or shut up for Sat this year. If the offense stinks, it's going to fall on him. That's it. Because it's like, okay, we acknowledge that last year, you know, you were driving a beat up hoopty, right? Now you're driving the Maserati. We've given you the keys to the sports car. We've upgraded you all across the board. If you can't produce this year, and I'm not saying score 50 points per game, but you can't be 106th or 116th or whatever you were last year. You can't be that nationally. If you can't produce an offense that on a consistent week in, week out basis can be productive, sorry, man, you paid the big bucks. I mean, it's got to fall on somebody. You know what I mean? And again, I look back at last year. Great question, Brian, but I look back at last year. I don't put it all on Satterfield. I think it was 50-50. I don't think scheme was great. But, I mean, you also look at what they were working with. I know Coach Ford's going to hate that commentary, but you have to give some credit to what they were working with. Under center. That's really where it starts, too. Under center, man. I mean, the Gamecocks are, even if, you know, no matter what you think about Spencer Rattler, you think he's going to be a bust, you think he's overhyped, no matter what you think about Rattler, one thing is true. He is so much of an upgrade for us at quarterback based, you know, compared to what we had last year. It's not even funny. So I don't care if you think he's a Heisman Trophy candidate or you think he's a first rounder, or if you think he's a bum. I don't care what you think about him. Dude, he is such an exponential upgrade for us under center at that position. It's not even funny. And I've got to think that's going to positively impact the offense in a very, very big way. Got to think so. John Edward, out of Kingston and Muschamp, who do Carolina fans hate more? I still think Muschamp. I still think Muschamp. Travis Lee, over under 24 points per game, giving up all season average. Giving up. I'll go under. I'll go under that. I think we'll be solid yet again defensively. I'm not saying we're going to be elite, but I think we'll be solid. Age of Hours, if we don't score more than 24 a game, Sat needs to go because you're going to have to score big against the better teams. Yeah, AJ, listen, I would agree. I think over 24 points per game. You need to get as close to 30 as you possibly can, if not over 30, right? Again, 30 points per game. 30 points per game is a sweet spot. You can hit 30 points per game or more, you had a successful year in my mind. Guys, we're going to jump into one final break, but I want to continue to hear from you, more of your questions, comments, calls, and more on the other side. You're tuned in to the Daily Crow. All right, guys, we're back. Final 10 minutes or so. Taking your questions, comments, calls, 843-790-3377. John Edward asked me, Chris, can I ask why Muschamp over Kingston, of who's more disliked? I just think because John Edward, football moves the needle more than baseball does. And so I think while people are upset that our baseball program is not what it used to be or not even remotely close, I don't know. I still just think what Muschamp did and the depths to which he drove the football program, I think that stings a little more, right? That stings a little more. So, let's see. We got a text here. Says, to hell with Georgia and cuck Flemson. That's it. That's the message. Keep doing your thing, brother, and F the haters. Love the content. Time to make the state of Georgia ours, and it's time to take the state of South Carolina back. Go Cox. I love to hear it. Yeah, back to the point of Babes and Waves saying something about some South kind of blogger talking junk on TSUS. I mean, it's just, dude, I love it. Hey, all you do when you talk is you keep me relevant. That's it. I mean, the beauty's in the banter, guys. One of the reasons I say that, listen, I'm not about toxic drama on social media. I'm far beyond that, far past that, right? I don't think it's productive. But it is interesting whenever I'll give an opinion about South Carolina football or South Carolina athletics or just any opinion in general. And when there is a big reaction, when there's a reaction, in a way, I love it because it just shows that we still move the needle. In a lot of instances, we are the needle. Why move the needle when you can be the needle? So, hey, I love it, man. I love that we are the topic of conversation. Just keep the chatter going. Love that. The day they stop talking about us, the day they stop talking about me, that's when I'll be worried. But that day ain't coming no time soon, folks. I can guarantee you that. Jack Harrington says, Will Sanders going to come back for next year? If he does, we got a solid rotation. Well, Jack, Bosnick's not going to be back next year. Will Sanders will 110% be back. I think Bosnick's a guy that's going to try his hand at professional baseball. I don't see him coming back to South Carolina. I don't see him coming back to South Carolina. From what I've heard, especially, I don't think he comes back. Jack Harrington also says, which edge rusher needs to have a bigger year in your mind, Birch or Pickens? Birch or Pickens? I will go with, I think Pickens. I think Pickens will have a bigger year than Birch. I want Birch to have a big year so badly for multiple reasons. Number one, just for him, right? His draft stock, that's part of it. I also just like, dude, he is Jordan Birch, guys. When you think about Jordan Birch is the highest rated prospect we have ever signed at USC, not named Jadeveon Clowney. So, like, it stings, right? It stings to not get the production out of him that you thought you were going to get. It stings. Jordan Birch has all the potential in the world, but that's all it is, potential. Guys, he has 1 sack in 2 seasons. You got to get, and I know he was behind J.J. Nigbare, but, dude, if you're the second highest rated prospect we've ever signed, you should have more than 1 sack in 2 years. I'm sorry, you should. You should. So right now, I'm going to predict Pickens has the better year. Pickens has the better year. Babes and Waves, did you send me something? Is that what you're saying? But I'm very confused, Babes and Waves. I think you're trying to leave a timestamp or something. I don't know if you DM me something or whatever, but. Anyways, about 5 minutes or so to go. Brayson Haney, I saw a few days where the quarterbacks got together and had a dinner. Jaheim Bell replied. Let's see. Jaheim Bell replied, said he felt offended that he wasn't invited. Had me thinking there will be a Wildcat package this year. I mean, I think probably he's just messing around with the guys. I mean, maybe. Who knows? Maybe. I don't think you see Bell in a Wildcat. You know, what's so interesting, man, I didn't see a link, Babes and Waves. I didn't see a link. I didn't see a link from you, Babes and Waves. I don't know. Let's see. What's so interesting, though, is we have a lot of guys on offense that need to touch the football. The biggest thing for Marcus Satterfield is how do you get the football to so many different people and keep everybody happy, right? Let's see. He does have a pick six. You are correct. Jeff Gullidge says, which running back do you think will have a better season? It's another question, man. I mean, listen, everybody thinks we're loaded at the running back spot. What's Marshawn Lloyd? Is Marshawn Lloyd going to be the guy? I like Christian Beal-Smith's game a lot. All right. I think Juju McDowell is the most underrated player on the offense. I just think Juju, for some reason, listen, I don't think Juju's a 20 to 25 carry per game guy. I don't see him in that way, but all he does is every time he touches the football, he gets 10 yards. Every time, it seems like. Averages 9 or 10 yards a touch. So he's extremely productive. I think when it comes to the running back position, you don't give guys – I don't know that you give guys more opportunities to win a job or to contribute because of their star rating. But I just look at it as I think they're going to give Marshawn Lloyd every opportunity to show that he's over the injury, he's back to his old self, and he can be even 90% of the guy that we thought he was going to be. But I think at some point, guys, if it's early on in the season and he just doesn't have that burst, if he doesn't have that explosiveness, if he's still a step or two slow like we saw last year, I'm not saying don't use him, but when it comes to a 1-2 punch, I think you've got to look at probably Beal Smith and Juju. How does Lavassier Carroll factor in? I mean, you need Marshawn Lloyd to step up. We talk about getting the most out of a Jordan Burks. We talk about getting the most out of a Pickens, out of your 5-star guys. Lloyd is one of those dudes. You don't get enough 5-stars at Carolina for them to not pan out. It's a big year for Marshawn Lloyd. Very, very big year. He could be the leading running back. He could be your number one guy. But it's an if. It's a but. It's a we don't know. It's a question mark. It's a question mark. Is he fully over the injury? Is he back to or close to being back to the guy that we all heard about on the recruiting trail, that we heard about in fall camp before he got injured? If he is, I think he could be a big-time breakout player for South Carolina and could be one of the better running backs in the league. But right now, unfortunately, it's a question mark. It's an if. Anyways, guys, we're about to hit 2 o'clock. Appreciate you all tuning in. Thank you all so much again for the continued love and support. Check out the podcast for SEC Unfiltered if you have not done so. And again, guys, I apologize for the technical difficulties. Hopefully, we are past this. I seriously and sincerely mean it. I really appreciate you guys just rolling with the punches. You guys don't hold it against me when we have technical issues. Y'all are like, hey, you know what? It's cool. Technology is great until it isn't. So we deal with the Muschamp hackers, the Kingston hackers, the Martin hackers, the Fink hackers, all the hackers. We deal with them one day at a time. And again, I appreciate you all, your continued love and support. Stay tuned for TSUS, the podcast tomorrow. We're continuing the Daily Crow all week long. By the way, no Tin Roof show tomorrow night. They're doing maintenance at Tin Roof. So again, appreciate you guys tuning in. Have a great rest of your Tuesday, and we will talk to you tomorrow.